For the past, well, it's going to be 40 years next year, but a lot of people associate um, essentially DTV, Disney Television, with the beginning of Disney Channel. But what is, DTV? Why is it so special? And quite honestly, what DTV is was essentially Disney's answer to MTV. You got to remember at the time when DTV came out, Disney Channel was essentially still premium service. And by being a premium service, they needed to fill in the gaps when certain shows or movies would end a little before the next movie or program would begin. That's why you had things like Mouth-to-Piece Theater, and then of course you would have DTV to fill in those gaps. But what made DTV so popular was it, for a lot of us as kids, it was our introduction to music. MTV, that had a variety of music and stuff, music videos. There would be music videos to animated, films at times, and, things like Sledgehammer and all that, which would entertain us, no doubt. But when it came to DTV, though, that was basically a little bit more, I guess you could say, toned down for us kids, because it would allow us to be introduced to not just music that our parents, used to and still listen to this day. Still listen to this day, I should say. Not only did it introduce us to that music, but I think in a way, and I said this before, excuse me, and I've said this before, I think in a way it paved the way. I believe in thinking a way that it paved the way for what is known, nowadays as AMVs, animated or anime music videos, animated music videos, anime music videos, or you can call it pony music videos or FanVids or whatever, or FMVs or whatever. Um, it paved the way, I think, because when you look at a lot of people's FanVids, like mine or anybody else's, you could see the influence of DTV there. I mean, heck, even back in the 80s when DTV started, Warner Brothers, mostly because they own Hanna-Barbera still, I think they had just acquired Hanna-Barbera. No, not Warner Brothers, but Turner Network, the Turner Broadcast, who had acquired Warner Brothers, not Warner Brothers, but Hanna-Barbera. Turner Broadcasting wanted a piece of that pie. They saw what Disney was doing. It's like, hey, we could do it better, and we could use songs that are more modernized than what you're using. And I think when they started to do that, they started to use songs that were more up to date at that time in the mid 80s, early to mid 80s. Disney jumped on that bandwagon and said, "Hey, we're not about to let you outdo, what we're doing or what we originated." And before you know it, or before you knew it, you had a lot of DTV music videos, coming out at that time, with up to date songs to go along with the collage of footage, we were getting, you know, and also you had specials. You had specials that would premiere on the likes of NBC and ABC, in back to back years, like 86, 87, and 88. So back to back to back. You had specials for Christmas, you had specials for Halloween, Valentine's Day, you name it. And they would show up on NBC or ABC or even CBS. They would show up there, and it would give the DTV platform more of an exposure, as well as entice folks to want to potentially order the Disney Channel as part of the service, because Disney Channel was the only place you could find them. That being the DTV music videos. And of course, they also tried to revive it in the late 80s, early 90s as well as DTV2 or DTV, because some people associate it as D-TV, and then some just say DTV, and then some call it DTV2 or the all new DTV, whatever it was called. They tried to revitalize it back in the late 80s and 90s, and it kind of worked for a little bit, because, again, what they were doing is they were using more modernized songs and using more recent footage, from the 60s, 70s, and 80s and stuff, from the animated films, live action stuff, and even the Disney syndicated stuff. So so obviously they were trying to keep it going, but unfortunately it did fade away. It did fade out, and now the only way you could see it is through places like here on YouTube. You can find it here on YouTube, or if you want to look on eBay, you can find the old VHS tapes, that was sold, or that you could buy or even rent. That was basically a compilation of all the music videos they had put on there, and they basically would title it "Pop and Rock," Golden Oldies, Rhythm and Blues, you name it. And of course, they would even put on VHS and Laserdisc some of the television specials, like the Monster Hits, the Valentine's, Doggone Valentine's, which they would retitle Romancing. Um, so yeah, you had different ways of viewing it if you didn't want to get Disney Channel as a premium service at the time. But like I said, the only way you could see it nowadays is either here on YouTube or going out and buying on eBay if they're cheap enough. The classic VHS tapes. And what's crazy is you look at you look here on YouTube, and you can not only find all those classic DTV music videos, but you could also find the specials that I mentioned, the Monster Hits, the Valentines, you name it. So, so yeah, DTV, even though it's not as present as it used to be, or if at all, on Disney Channel or Disney XD or anything, or even Disney Plus, you still can get access to it on places like here on YouTube, which I think is really cool. I think is really cool, and it's really great. And you have people, and I've mentioned this before, I believe, in previous videos. You have people like, I think Matt, like, what is it, Matt or something like that, who do what they call the unofficial revamping or unofficial continuation of DTV, called the all new DTV, where they use footage of not just classic Disney stuff, but modern Disney stuff and everything, from films and animation and live action. But they also use songs that you could kind of see being part of DTV in its original form or original broadcasting, but as well as some that maybe not, because it doesn't really fit up to Disney standards. But still, you see people like that trying to keep it alive, revitalize it, and then, like I said, you see folks like myself trying to keep that spirit alive through our presentation of PMVs, FanVids, AMVs, whatever. And it definitely tells you and shows you that Disney Television, DTV, their equivalent, more family friendly equivalent of to MTV back then, it basically goes on to show you and tell you that that legacy, that spirit, still lives on. And maybe down the line, through the likes of Disney Plus or whatever, it might eventually make a comeback. Who knows? But yeah, it's hard to believe that, depending on how you view it, it's going to be, if not has been, 40 years since it started. And let me know what your memories are. Let me know what your memories of DTV are. When did you first see it? What do what you know what, like I said, what are your memories of it? When did you first see it? What do you recall from it? Like, did you see it for the first time with the specials, VHS, Disney Channel? Let me know. Or did you find it first time here on YouTube? Let me know down below in the comments, or on the live chat during the premiere. And until then, I will talk to y'all later, guys.